the promise of billions of dollars to pay for advanced weaponry for America's allies in the region. Dr. Rice says the arms sales to a host of countries, including Saudi Arabia, will help counter the negative influences of Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, Syria and Iran. But some say it's like trying to put out a fire by pouring oil on the flames. Our Washington correspondent Sarah Smith is in the U.S. Capitol. Sarah.
John, the Defence Secretary says no one in his position has ever gone on a joint trip like this with the Secretary of State before. That is a measure of just how seriously they take the need to reshape the balance of power in the Middle East. They've gone there in part to ask their friends to help support them in Iraq, obviously. But mostly they're there to try and build stronger alliances against Iran and what America insists are Iranian attempts to build a nuclear bomb. They came bearing gifts. A huge arms deal offered to their friends to strengthen them against growing Iranian influence in the region.
Our commitment to this region has been a commitment to be able to be a reliable partner for the states of this region in meeting their security needs, precisely keeping in mind concerns about various regional military balances. The Iranians are pursuing policies that are indeed destabilizing to the region.
Next stop for Condoleezza Rice is Saudi Arabia, where most of the weapons will go. She knows they've not been helping in Iraq. They may not be a reliable friend, but they are an Iranian foe.
What it does do at this particular moment is send a very clear signal, again, to Iran and to Syria and to those who are seeking to destabilize the region, who are seeking to expand their influence at the expense of forces of moderation in the region, that the United States is committed to the security of our friends and allies.
The $20 billion deal will be spread over 10 years. It will go to Arab Sunni states seen as allies of the US, in contrast to Shia, Iran and Syria. The bulk of it will go to Saudi Arabia. 5 other Gulf states will each get a share as well. And it will pay for new or upgraded military hardware, including air-to-air missiles, advanced precision-guided bombs, fighter planes and naval ships. To ease Israeli concerns over all this going to Arab countries, the US will increase military aid to Israel by 25% to $30 billion, while Israel's friends and neighbours, Egypt and Jordan, will receive a further $13 billion for weaponry. It all comes back to Iraq, where the US invasion ultimately led to increased Iranian influence, and where Sunni insurgents attacking American troops are being supported by Saudi Arabia. Money and fighters flow across their shared border. But President Bush still keeps the Saudis close and hopes this arm deal might buy their support for the Shiite government in Iraq. He'll struggle to persuade Congress.
Saudi Arabia, despite the administration's delusions, is not our friend. Saudi Arabia is the leading exporter of terrorist propaganda and education in the world today.
Does it all sound familiar? In the 1980s, Donald Rumsfeld met Saddam Hussein as the US sold him arms to counter Iran after the revolution. It backfired then, and it could again today.
The problem of strengthening everybody around Iran is it assumes that Iran would have a destabilizing response. There certainly are some people within Iran who would say, see, this is why we need a nuclear deterrent, because the U.S. is arming all of our enemies.
So as even more weaponry is headed for the Middle East, Germany pointed out today, the region is not suffering from a lack of arms, but from a lack of stability. Now, this deal is yet to be agreed by Congress, and they are very sceptical. Many congressmen are, of course, staunch friends of Israel, and they're worried about selling missiles to Arab states, even if the Israeli government has been placated by the promises of additional military aid for them as well. But that's not their only concern. They're worried about pouring arms into such a volatile region, in effect starting a Middle East arms race, some of them say. And they don't see how that can really contribute to the peace and stability the administration see they're trying to seek. So they may yet have trouble getting this through Congress when it comes back after the holidays in September.
Sarah Smith. Well, earlier I talked to the US Under-Secretary of State Nicholas Burns and asked him why Saudi Arabia should be armed if it isn't doing anything to end the insurgency in Iraq, as America's ambassador to the UN has implied.